up in our community have full-time jobs working in space. If you asked me that when I was a kid, when you say I want to be an astronaut or I want to be the president of the United States, it was like, yeah, get real. Today, I mean, we've seen Barack Obama. We see what's happening. We just came from an exciting convention. We can't get into the politics, but the reality for our young people is that they will be able to strive for the stars and achieve great things and their highest best potential based on just all the things that we're seeing from space and technology and all of those things here in our communities. I also would say that it's important that League of Minority Voters have a relationship with the city of Long Beach as a diverse city, as a city that believes in belonging, where you have a place here, no matter how you pray, who you love, the color of your skin, and all of those things. We're home to refugees, Cambodia town. It's the largest population of Cambodian refugees from the Khmer Rouge anywhere in the world. And that's here in the city of Long Beach. We have a strong history, deep connection with many immigrant refugee communities, African-American communities, Latino populations. And so we certainly believe in diversity. So I wanted to just take a moment to come here to welcome all of you. We're certainly glad to have you. And while you're here, we encourage you to go check out our incredible downtown, visit one of our residents, and spend a little bit of time here in the city of Long Beach. Thank you.
Give the mayor a round of applause, please. We're here to actually celebrate this day. Our story is not unique. We came and to really find a way to express our gratitude, because a time comes when it comes very well in the history of a people in quandary of their future. That time is now. That time is now, when we need to rise above our tribe and begin to build our own new set of tribalism, united by one common bond to fight for representation and empowerment. That is the story and the history of the League of Minority Voters. Our story is not unique. When you sit and you look around and the power is sequestered in one community, you begin to ask yourself, when is it going to be my time to be governor? When will it be my time to be treasurer? When will it be to be supervisor? Because our population is rising, especially in this state. So here we are before a watching ward. To unite our aspiration, unite our vision, unite our mission for one common goal. That's to educate, inform new and old immigrants, friends of immigrants, emboldened by allies, emboldened by those who believe in the vision that we brought to California this day. The League of Minority Voters began out of Oregon, out of necessity, by the audacity of an African immigrant who was sick or tired of being sick and tired of having our issues swept aside. Here we are in 12 states: California, Colorado, Denver, Nevada, Virginia, Maryland, Minnesota, Texas, building in Arizona, Florida, and Michigan. We're not building or moving because of the might behind us or because of the resources behind us. We're building and resonating because of the need for us as a changing country to have representation. That's why we're building. That's why we're expanding. So, on behalf of the board, of those who have signed up from Washington, D.C., to Long Beach, to Sacramento, and Santa Cruz, Colorado, here we are. We're ready. This movement is not the story of one person or one city or one state. This movement is about those people who are different, and people say they're different, have no voice. Here, now we have a voice. The thing we do, you will read about, we're trying to build new leadership that believe in the community progress. We're trying to build new islands that is dedicated to our community rebirth and progress. We're trying to build a vision that is wrapped around inclusion, diversity, and equity. We're not here to shy away from the things that unite us. Yes, this is a great country. It is great because of us. New immigrants, old immigrants who are contributing, who are making this a great country. This is the foundation of the League of Minority Voters. So I will wrap up and say that if you have questions, you want to be a part of us, I just spoke to the supervisor, Roberto. Mr. Supervisor, please come to me. Let me formally introduce you, give you 1 minute to inspire us. Where is he? Yeah, come on down. He's an incoming board member. He hasn't told me yet, but I am writing his name down.
How can I turn an invitation like that down? Right? Let's give it up for Promise and everything that you all are doing here. You know, I was just chatting with the mayor and telling him what a great job he's doing out here in Long Beach. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for hosting us and having us here in your great city. I am Vicente Sarmiento. I am a former mayor, so I know how difficult that job is. I was the mayor in Santa Ana, our county seat in the county of Orange. And now I am the supervisor, only the third Latino supervisor in the history of that county. And so we are very, very inspired by seeing our leaders making sure that all our residents are able to participate. And, you know, unlike what the fallacy is of Orange County, we are not all homogenous. We are not all wealthy. We are not all living on the coast. There are struggling cities and residents there that have a tough time every day. And I represent them in the 2nd District. So I represent the entire city of Santa Ana, cities of Anaheim, Orange, Tustin, and Garden Grove. So I just want to thank you for all your efforts. I'm inspired by what you do. I'm going to take you up on that beautiful invitation. I want to see what we can do to bring you all to Orange County because I just want to let you in on a secret. I'm going to brag for 1 second. My son is a Truman Scholar, and he is one of only 60 students in the entire country. He did his initiative and his proposal on engaging youth voters. And so he's working in the same vein that you are to make sure that our young voices here in the community that are not heard. And he saw that some districts have single-digit turnouts in our cities, and that's not a good thing. So, let us know what we can do to work with you. Thank you for everything you do. It's just great to be here on a beautiful day in the city of Long Beach, working towards some good things that we can all inspire each other with. Thank you all. Thank you, Promise.
Give him a round of applause. Woo! Like I told you, this is a celebration. This is a celebration. This is an inaugural event. We're going to do this again in the other part of California. Please give us the audience and be a part of us because we will be the future in 10 years. We have a 35-state strategy, and California is one big spot for our regional effort. Thank you very much. Mayor.
Thank you, Promise. What an amazing order. Thank you so much. So we're going to recognize some of our board members today. I'd like to invite Denise and Mayor Khan up here to do that for us.
going to start. I know you heard from two of our electeds, but I want to make sure that we formally recognize them. Orange County Supervisor Vicente Sarmiento and Mayor of Long Beach, Rex Richardson. We also have former Mayor of Sierra Madre, Rochelle Arizmendi. Thank you so much for being here. And then I'm going to turn it over to Denise to welcome our board.
Thank you very much. So you already know that Mayor Farrah and myself are co-chairs. I want to give a special acknowledgement before I start with the folks that are in the program to Rochelle Arizmendi. Did I say that correctly? And also to Emil Aaron. We recognize you for the work that you've done, and we're looking forward to what you will continue to do. Now for the board members that made this possible. Jeremy Ray is also a co-vice chair. He joins us from the Bay Area. He's in my neck of the country or the state. And we want to welcome Jeremy for his contribution and just the voices that he represents and the passion that he has for justice and equity. Also, I'd like to represent Rafael Rebucas, who's a co-vice chair. I don't know if Rafael is with us. Okay. Okay. Lubna Hamad, who's our general secretary, known to us as Lulu. Thank you, Lulu. Now, this person definitely deserves a round of applause. Ms. Dallas Fowler. She is fierce. Let me tell you, you want stuff done, give it to Miss Dallas. Sammy Dabussier. Oh my gosh, you're challenging me. Governance co-chair. He's not here today, but we want to still acknowledge him. Archie Shazad, who is not here, National IT co-chair. Another star amongst us, and you've already been introduced to him, Mukhtar Ali. Let me tell you, this man is a star on the rise, so keep a watch on him. Sarah Funes is also one of our board members that's not here today. Vanessa D. Marrero is also a board member. So please give a round of applause for these ladies and gentlemen who are rolling up their sleeves, lending their talents, and really passionate about coming together and contributing to the elevation of our community. So thank you very much, and give them another round of applause.
Thank you, Denise, and thank you to all the board members who really rolled up their sleeves and in such a tight timeline put this event together. So really appreciate everyone's help. We're going to transition now to a panel to discuss the importance of minority voices, why we do what we do. On that panel, we have Supervisor Sarmiento, Jeremy, one of our board members, and our founder, Promise King. So we'll get that started.
Okay, greetings, everyone. I'm just going to take a point of personal privilege. If you come to the front, or if you've seen some of our board members, you'll see that we are wearing the League of Minority Voters pin. And how do we get this pin? This is the founding member pin of the California League of Minority Voters. So we want everyone to make a contribution that they can to receive and say that you have been a founding member of this wonderful organization that seeks to unite our communities, right? So I don't want that problem. I don't want that part to be missed, and I don't want people to walk out of here without getting their pin. So let's make an effort. So before you leave, if you need to, there's a QR code here. Come and scan. It'll help you get the pin. Thank you.
Okay, I am going to facilitate a discussion amongst the panelists. I believe we've met all of the participants. So I'm going to get straight down to business. And the first question, I really want to direct to Promise, but I think there's an opportunity for everyone on the panel to engage. And we are here, again, celebrating the League of Minority Voter and the launch in California. I'd like Promise to speak a little bit more about his vision and the responsibility that he feels not only the League has to developing our voices, but also the role that the community plays in that. And then we'll go to each person. Oh, you don't have a mic. Oh.
Again, I want to congratulate you and thank you for coming. Fundamentally, one of the things we don't talk about is the history of why where we are. One of my favorite line of the Constitution is this preamble: "We, the people." We, the people. When that phrase was couched, Mayor Hunt cannot vote. Our co-chairs, none of our co-chairs can vote. None of us here, except my good brother here, can vote. All of us can vote. But through amendment, resolutions, and advocacy, and voices in and out from the sky and from underground, we're here, we're able to vote. For a long time, that part has been breached by inexcusable mean spirit of division, and that part has been silenced by those who feel that we should not be able to vote, by those who are scared of our unity, scared and petrified of our power. But that part is all going. It requires us to peel off that complacency and foolishness and to begin to speak out where we find it, speak out about our unity, speak out about the need for representation. I gotta tell you, the only power we have to really make changes and design a future we imagine together for our children, our grandchildren, is where we go out and participate. The role of the League now is to ignite community passion for civic engagement. That's why we're here, to ignite our community ability to vote, to be informed, to need change, to ignite that future of power that has been suppressed, long suppressed by complacency. So the League is here to begin to construct and deconstruct anything that has been on our way. Because we are at a point where we can't no longer go alone. It is not enough to have Black coalition. It's not enough to have Latino coalition. It's not enough to have Arab American coalition, it is enough for us to come together. That is what is enough. That's what the league is about. To build a home for those who believe. We don't care about your politics because, to be honest with you, both political parties need a lot of us in them making decisions. So I will slow my roll and pass it on. Give the rest of my hour.
So I'm going to just restate the question for you. And again, it is when you think about the League of Minority Voters and the opportunity for us to serve in California, what is not just our role, but the role of the community?
So, I think Promise said it well, but let me just backtrack a little bit because I know when I was speaking earlier, I didn't let you all know that Orange County is the sixth largest county in the country. We have over 3.2 million residents, and it's one of, one of the strongest, most wealthy counties in the country as well. Despite that, we only have 1 in 4 voters that participated in the primary election earlier this year. That's not a good thing because as Orange County, again, has this perception that it's a homogenous county, it isn't. It is 1/3 Latino. We have a large Vietnamese population. We have a large Muslim population. We have a large, very, very diverse community. So to the extent that we want to make sure that all our residents participate, and unfortunately, the one thing I think that the league, has a challenge, and we all have a challenge to do, is to make sure those voices that feel that government and politics just aren't working for them. Somehow we need to make sure that we inspire them. And whether they be seniors, whether they be marginalized, working families, whether they be youth that feel disconnected, that's something that we as a challenge need to overcome. I realize that, being a voter, participating in an election is the most patriotic thing we can do, short of serving, in the armed forces. Having your voice and your vote heard is something that's so extremely important to our democracy. And so I do think that we need to get over that hump, make sure that people understand that your vote, your voice is not just important to you individually, but it's important to make sure that our democracy is healthy. And so I feel very inspired by realizing that so many states have undertaken this because there is now an effort to, make voting more difficult. And so that is something that we're not only trying to overcome, but now we have to combat that. I just see that traditionally it used to be racial minorities, but it really isn't. It's those who are voiceless. It's those working families that don't feel like people are listening to them, whether they be, again, working families, whether they be seniors, whether they be youth. Those are the minority voices that I think we all need to connect with and let them know that their voices need to be heard so we can make sure that our democracy continues to go on and they feel that government is working for them. And so I just want to thank you all for making sure that we all do this together as a collective family, because when they see this beautiful coalition, because we have something in Orange County that we try to get people involved. It's called Tacos at Every Mosque. And so that is blending communities of Latino communities with Muslim communities. And those are ways that we're able to get people connected and realize, again, as somebody said, it's not about your politics. It's just making sure that you engage in the process. And so that would be my hope that we continue further.
So I'll start with saying the obvious, that growing up as a white male in the United States of America for the last 53 years, everything from media to TV shows to movies to my teachers, all basically told me that my voice mattered because I'm a white male in the United States of America. And I understand that the experience has been very different for a lot of other communities in this country, that there's a reason that there's a lower percentage of people who vote in those communities. And that reason is because, as has been said, they feel like they don't have a voice. They feel like nothing is going to change. They don't feel like they're a part of it. I've served on a school board for 12 years in a school district that is more than 50% Latino, with a high number of our students starting school speaking primarily Spanish. And what I can tell you is those families, they all want the same things for their children that we all want. They all want them to get a good education. They all want them to have opportunities. But it's very hard sometimes to reach out and to get them involved in the school system because they don't feel welcome. And, you know, I live in a very progressive area and I still see huge barriers to involvement. We have to lower those barriers. Yes, we're California. We may not be in one of the states that is just doing blatant voter suppression through passing laws in the state, but we have communities and we have people who feel barriers to being able to vote here, who don't see that it's going to have a benefit for them. And my goal, and I think the goal of the League of Minority Voters, is to reach out to people and to say, your voice does matter. And this is how you can have a greater impact in the community that you live in and in this country as a whole. And I know that we're all going to work very hard to do that. And that's the goal.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, one of the questions when I was co-chair of the Portland chapter with Promise, he encouraged me to do a PSA, and I'm on live television on a morning show, and I cannot think of her name. Promise probably remembers, but she looks at me and says, "What does a debate team have to do with voting?" And that's how much the disconnect and the gap is in terms of understanding the future for our children. But I'm going to pose that question to you because I know that that's one of your pride and joy. So I'm going to start with Jeremy. What does a debate program have to do with voting?
Well, I can't speak for Promise's motivation, but I think I can tell you that from my perspective, it's about finding your voice. It's about realizing that you can speak for yourself, that you can take a position on something, that you can get involved in an argument or being persuasive and persuading someone to come along with you. It's part storytelling. It's part being able to think on your feet and be able to make a coherent argument without a lot of time to prepare. And all of that gives people, especially kids, the understanding that they have a voice, that their voice matters, and that they should get involved in civics, being part of our society. And I think a debate team is an outstanding way to introduce our young people to those concepts. So.
I think somebody who grew up very shy, a kid of a diplomat, always bow tie, locked inside. I felt that when I came to this country, I covered City Hall where the issue is about English as second language, or the City Hall is talking about transportation or community development or economic development. I did not see either immigrants of first generation, or even when they do show up, they are too nervous to speak. And I thought if we ever had an opportunity, whether in California or in Arizona, that we begin to develop the voices of our young folk and empowering them to be able to speak and carry the expectation and the yearning of our communities. So that was the reason behind our very successful debating program in Oregon and Washington State. I think what my co-chair, I call her Oprah, is trying to say is whether or not you guys are going to support a debate team that have all of our youth, Chinese youth, Asian youth, API, Arab, African American, Latino, working together. One of my vision is to teach them how to work together early, because I see things whether it's in California, somewhere where we are so comfortable with our own tribe, and we don't want to go beyond our. We're so comfortable that we don't want to build those unity, those bridges. I don't want our young folks to be locked down and handcuffed to that kind of cynicism. So the debate team is a way of trying to ignite their voices, peel out the fear that comes in public speaking, and those butterflies you feel they are not really butterfly. They are something, they're illusion. So our debate team is preparing them for leadership, not just for leadership for themselves, but for community leaders, so that community can boast of leaders who look back and give back, and who is willing to lift others up and remember that the community gave them that voice. So don't give me this microphone.
Well, look, I was a late bloomer, so had they put me on a debate team, I was scared of my own shadow when I was young. So I am a big believer in just any sort of public speaking that we can expose youth to. I was blessed because my colleague on the city council when I was a new member was a debate team coach, and he took some of our most at-risk youth to go compete on campuses like Harvard and Stanford and Yale, and they would win because their stories were so compelling. When a person is talking to you about the struggles that they have and they've had to navigate so many, it gives them confidence, it gives them self-assurance, it gives them an identity. So I do believe that the sooner and the earlier, young voices, especially, voices of youth of color, get out there. That self-assurance is important because it is a very intimidating environment for somebody to get up and even go to a city council meeting or a school board meeting to speak at a lecture or at a podium. So the sooner and the earlier that they feel confident to do that, that's something that's going to help all of us. And I can just tell you, those debate team students walked on behalf of my campaign and walked on behalf of an initiative that we had in Santa Ana when I was mayor. It was a rent control initiative. Very, very sensitive, very, very difficult. We won that because those young voices were talking about what their living conditions were. They were sleeping in units, 2 and 3 families to a unit. And they were personally compelling people to understand, look, nobody is trying to be punitive on landlords. Nobody's trying to be punitive on anybody else. They just wanted to make sure to be able to live in living conditions that were healthy, an environment that was going to help them excel in school. But, they were the strongest voices. They were the ones who were leading the effort because it was personal to them. So I am a huge, huge believer in debate. I just wish I would have learned it early. But in any event, I'm a big supporter.
Thank you. So just a little audience participation. Raise your hand if you saw Michelle Obama's speech at the Democratic National Convention this past week. Fantastic. For those of you who missed it, here's your assignment. Well, yes, it does, because you probably heard her say, do something, right? And I think that's our tagline, right? League of Minority Voters of California, we're going to do something. So my last question to the panel is, what are the top issues facing minority voters that you would like to share with the audience as they think about doing something?
I'll take this easy question. The minority voters, I think our issues are not unlike mainstream voters. I mean, we still want to be able to afford to live in communities that we grew up in. That's what we're challenged with, and I know the mayor of Irvine will support me on this. We have some families that aren't able to tell their children, you're going to be able to live in the county that you were raised in, because it's just so expensive for them. And we're talking about kids who are college graduates, they have good jobs, but they just can't afford to live in places that they grew up in. So that's the big challenge that I see. And we also see, obviously, our challenges in our county with the unhoused population. How do we solve that problem and making sure that our neighbors are not sleeping out on the street and us now being harsh with the response to that now that the Supreme Court case called Grants Pass was adopted by the majority of the conservative court. But I just see that those things are things that we as voters need to understand. How do we solve those problems? Because they're not going away. Healthcare is something very important to our community. There's just not access to accessible, affordable healthcare. So, and living wages, just making sure people can, afford to, again, buy their medication, buy their groceries, put their kids through school. So those are the challenges that we have. They're not unlike mainstream voters, but the one thing is that when you feel like you're voiceless, you feel like you have less of a stake in this and that nobody's listening to you. So I think that's where this league can have a really, really strong impact in making sure that we empower those voices and let them know whether you're a first generation, recent arrival, immigrant, resident, voter, that your voice is important. In fact, it's even more important. And if you see the indicia of evidence, immigrants that come here and are granted naturalization, they vote at a higher propensity than those of us who've been here 2 and 3 generations. So I think that that's something that we need to make sure that people understand, is that voices that are minority voices have helped shape public policy going forward.
Well, you referenced a Supreme Court case, so I'm gonna reference another one that I think is already having an impact that you can see, and that is the ruling that affirmative action is unconstitutional. But I just want to clarify the type of affirmative action that tries to provide equity to students from communities that have been previously marginalized or not had an equal opportunity. That type of affirmative action is unconstitutional. The type of affirmative action where you grew up rich and your grandfather and your father all went to the prestigious Ivy League university, that kind of affirmative action is still perfectly constitutional and legal. That is something that I would hope that communities of color will push back against. I know just 2 days ago, MIT announced that they have seen a huge change in their incoming freshman class. So the class that's starting this fall, class of 2028, is the first freshman class to enter universities since the Supreme Court decision declaring affirmative action unconstitutional. The percentage of African American students in MIT's incoming class dropped by 2/3. It used to be 15%, which is actually making a little bit of progress because that's actually higher than the percentage of African Americans in the country. It's 12.1 or 12.4, depending on who you ask. So there was actually some headway being made. In no way does it make up for hundreds of years of not being able to build generational wealth, not getting access to the same educational opportunities, but it was at least trying to start to move somewhere towards equity. Now the incoming class is 5% African American. It's dropped by 2/3. Those are the issues that matter to me. I know I'm not a member of the minority community, but that is an issue that I hope we will have success in pushing back on and making change. So we're going in the wrong direction.
Thank you, Jeremy. You're definitely family. So before I thank our esteemed panelists, I want to just acknowledge another board member, Sarah Dean from Palos Verde Unified School District Board. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you. And so with that, I want to close the panelist group and thank them for sharing and emphasizing why voting is important, why debate teams are, the thing, and why we need to make sure we understand what our top issues are as we go to the ballot in November and vote. Thank you very much.
So thank you again to our amazing panelists, and thank you so much to our amazing moderator. Denise. I did want to share that unfortunately, Dr. Weber's team reached out to us sharing that she was ill and could not make it here today. So we definitely wish her well and hope for a speedy recovery. However, we did want to honor her today for her work that she's done throughout her career, whether it was starting off at the local level in the assembly and now as our California Secretary of State, making sure that there was equity when it came to elections, making sure that voting rights were a top priority. And she's just been a stellar advocate for so many in our communities, making sure that when we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, that we include that when we're talking about elections and voting. And so even though she's not here, we will get this award to her in Sacramento. But on behalf of Dr. Weber, we're going to have Mukhtar accept this award.
Yeah. So the Secretary Weber is very deserving of this award, and we do wish her well. Mayor Khan and I will personally deliver this to her and thank her for all she's done in terms of civic engagement and getting more people, including minorities, engaged in their government. So I'm happy to accept this on her behalf, and I thank the board for giving it to her. Thank you.
And a few things before we end our program. Just want to make sure that everyone, please make sure that we have your email. We'll be emailing you updates on upcoming programming before and after this November election. And we want to make sure that you get newsletters that we are going to be working on. Follow us on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram. Those two, right? Yes. And then, as we said earlier, please do come and donate, contribute, and get your founder's pin. We want to make sure that we are growing this movement. So we're going to ask you to reach out to your friends and your networks and tell them about the League of Minority Voters and tell them about the work that we're heading out to do and that we want everyone at the table. And that's what's important about this organization is that our table is large and it is welcoming. So thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Promise.
Thank you, Mayor. As we wrap up the day, I want you to give an award and applause to all of our board members first, and to all of our guests. You see, there are expectations we have of our elected officials, and those expectations are not unreasonable. We expect them that when we vote for them, they move on and across the aisle to work on behalf of our communities. We expect them not to be wrapped up in bipartisan, but to move on and to work hard to represent our vision, our collective dreams. So the League will continue to be that wagon to carry on that message. And the expectation we have is that when we elect you, please come back. And you as your community members, we ask you to sign up, like the mayor said. Please be a part of us. Join us. Be a board member. So on behalf of our board, on behalf of our communities, I want to bring in Lulu to say a few things.
I don't really have much to add to what Thomas and Farrah said. I just wanted to take a minute to thank our volunteers who showed up today. Thank you so much. We're so grateful to each and every one of you, to the core movement. That's it.
Okay, have a good one. See us in Sacramento or where? In the Bay Area. We'll let you know. Have a good one. Come and shake my hand and give me a little hug before I get back. Thank you. Have a good day.